Hi everyone, welcome to Good for the Game TV. You're watching our flagship rugby show, The Handicap. It's live, it's 9 o'clock on a Thursday night, and we're here to talk about all the weekend's rugby betting. Plenty of action to get us involved in some big games, of course. You can see the shirt I'm wearing today, Western Province for the Currie Cup. Well, I got very little choice in that because I had a big bet on them last week. But as we'll see as the show progresses, I'm not exactly confident of landing my money, or certainly not as confident as I was when I placed the bet. But we've got two guys on the show with us tonight to talk rugby betting. And let's start off in Durban. We had to drag him from outside where he was sitting on the stoop. Looked almost a haunted picture. And it's Oracle Rugby. Oracle, good to have you on the show. Oracle? Oracle can't hear me. So let me invite Hendrik in. Hendrik, I hope you can hear me. I haven't.
I can hear you, Brent. Sorry, there's an echo. One of you guys have got the internet on. I can hear you perfectly. No, I can hear you.
Oh, you know what? It could be me. It could be me because I got the show on. Let me quickly go and check. That's what it could be. Okay, go for it, Gav. Yeah, that could well be me. Gavin, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry, what was the question, Brent? I didn't quite hear it. Sorry.
Welcoming you to the to the show. How things down in Durban? I mean, the weather's not relevant to us this weekend in Durban, but you're looking forward to the big final, I'm sure.
I am Brent. I'm definitely.
And we do seem to have a bit of a bad signal with Gavin there, Hendrik. Just to bring you in, I thought I would see you in a Western Province jersey, and I wore my matching jersey especially for the occasion, but not this time. What is that telling us? Are you switching allegiance for this game?
No, Brent. Like you guys probably remember, I backed the Sharks pre-tournament, and I backed them at 7-2 and at 3-1. But then last week I back to Western Province. I followed you on Western Province, and I'm actually in a situation where if the Sharks win, I pull square, and if Western Province win, I get a pretty good payday. So I'm on the Western Province. I'm not as confident as I were, but I still think they should be good at. And you mentioned the weather in Durban. The weather in Cape Town has been scorching hot this week. We've had most days the temperature has almost touched 40 degrees. And I see on Saturday it's going to be 37 degrees as well. It's going to be very hot.
Yeah, very hot. I think it was the Cardiff Blues that are staying in Cape Town while they're preparing for the game against the Cheetahs, and I saw them complaining about the heat. But just to wrap up last week's semi-finals from the betting angle, Hendrik, how did you go there? I mean, did you get involved in the Western Province minus in the end?
I was big on Western Province halftime minus 7.5, and I took some of that minus 18.5 as well. And then in running, I took when the Bulls got ahead, I took some more Western Province, and I ended up having a big loss in the game. Before that, I made money on the Sharks and the minus, but yeah, I lost that and some on the Western Province. So it wasn't a good game for me. I didn't enjoy the Western Province game.
Yeah, I must say myself, I was on the Sharks minus 5.5, so that was a good game for me. I was a bit worried when the Lions pulled within 2 points, and I was absolutely cursing when Skusan got that try where the Sharks player literally gave it to him and he turned around and ran unchallenged to the line. But then on the Western Province game, it was almost accidental. I thought I was going low in play in the Sharks game at 59.5 points, but I was actually going low at 59.5 in the Province game. I decided to let the bet run because I thought 59.5 for a semi-final was quite a high quote. I thought I would be okay. And I think the 59th point came up in about the 64th minute. But somehow then I wasn't watching the game because I was at my daughter's water polo tournament, so I was checking the scores sort of between chuckers. But I saw the score wasn't moving, and the 80-minute mark came in. I thought I'm going to win my bet, and Province are going to win as well. And then what happens? I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw what actually happened, what Gary talked about in the GG Gaming show. I mean, losing their own scrum like that was an absolute disaster, and the Bulls scoring. And I guess in the end, I just got to say I'm quite lucky still to have my Province bet running. Because, I mean, the conversion wasn't well hit, and if that had gone over, the Western Province would have been gone. But let's go to Gavin now, down in Durbs there. Gav, we did seem to have some technical problems there, but are you back with us?
Yeah, sorry, Brent. I'm still listening to you in the background while I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Let me just shut down everything.
Yes, no, I'm definitely here, Brent. I can hear you perfectly, except I'm just hearing you twice. I'm hearing you 3 minutes, what you said 3 minutes ago. That's the problem.
Okay. I also can hear the echoes.
I can now hear myself.
I'm not hearing echo on my side from either of you.
The guys on the comments are also hearing the echo.
They're also hearing the echo. Well, someone's got something going I just want to have another look. Maybe I got another window open. Sorry about this, guys, but we will just get to the bottom of it. I'll close.
You're lucky, Henrik, because I'm hearing myself. I'm hearing you 4 times. I'm hearing Brent 3 times. You must have another window, Brent.
No, I'm definitely. I've got all my windows. I've got all my windows closed now. Certainly, if it was open, it's definitely closed. I'm even closing my betting sites. I don't know how I'm going to actually.
And Henrik, have you not got another window open?
No, I've got a tablet open with the game, so I checked it, the comments on there, but there's no volume on that.
Anyways, let's see. I can probably maybe fiddle with the volume settings here while we go. But Gavin, from a betting angle, how did the semi-finals work out for you?
Yeah, Brent, the semi-finals are fine for me. Look, I lost a little bit on the Sharks. The Sharks game, again, when they were 2 points up. Well, sorry, they were leading by 2. A couple of minutes to go. I say a couple of minutes, probably about 10 minutes. I even mentioned on the WhatsApp group that I got with Henrik and a couple of guys that, geez, I had to dig deep in my dustbin to find my ticket that I had for the Lions to win the game. So, yeah, I'm quite surprised the Lions came close in the end. Henrik was right. The Lions didn't play very well. It was a decent team. They just didn't play very well. So I was quite impressed with the Sharks. On the other game, look, I had a small play on the Bulls plus, and it was only because of price. Nothing much more than that. Yeah, so I didn't have a lot of money on the Province Bulls game, and I'm not surprised that it was close. I'm surprised it was a draw and it was very close. I honestly thought it'd be around about 10 to 14 points. Yeah, I don't know. I just think Western Province didn't play as well as they should have played. I don't think it was very much good Bulls. I think it was more bad Province. And, like you guys are both on Province to win the tournament. I'd be very scared if I were you. I honestly would be. I'm not involved in a small bet on Bulls to win and Pumas to win the tournament. Not much for me. So it was a small result. I think I ended up slightly up on the weekend. I know I lost a couple of the Champions League, Champions Cup games. I won a couple, but yeah, I was probably down a little bit or up a little bit. I can't even remember. It was so negligible that I didn't even notice. Yeah, so I like the Sharks this weekend. I think at plus 6.5 is definitely big enough. I think it'll be a lot closer than that. Well, I say a lot closer than 6. I think it'll be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks win. 22-10, I backed them to win. I see GG Gaming have gone down to 2-1 now. Most sites on 16-10 or 18-10. Doesn't surprise me. Last year I went Province because of price. They were 17-10 in Durban. And for me, it's just about price. And I think Sharks' price is quite big about a team that can win. I'm not saying they're definitely going to win. They can win. And they've surely got the confidence now. The Western Province are probably a little bit nervous after what happened on the weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Gavin, and they will certainly be confident. And even if you haven't looked back to the game that the Sharks lost to the Western Province, and they lost quite convincingly to them, but at one point in the second half, the Sharks sort of came back to within 3 points. Now, just to mention from a technical side, I have Henrik, in case you're wondering why you can't talk at the moment. I did mute you there just to see if it made a difference, and it seemed to, the guys on the chat seemed to indicate that the echo did disappear. But I'm going to unmute Henrik and bring him back in now, Henrik. The Sharks do seem to have a bit of a problem closing out games in the last 20 minutes. I saw an article in the week that perhaps they're not fit enough. And that'll obviously then potentially be a big factor. But the other thing to consider is, would that extra time have taken anything out of the Province players?
Yeah, I don't think it would have taken that much out of Western Province. The week before, they only played 40 minutes. So that basically cancelled its other out. The Western Province, they normally end strongly. They ended strongly against the Bulls scored at the end. But Western Province normally starts strong and then end strong. And like you said, the Sharks, they don't end strong. They play good between 20 and 60 minutes. I just think it was maybe a good wake-up call for Western Province. The Sharks, they're not that good away from home. They like playing in Durban. And the big problem for me for Western Province was Willemse at 10. I know he's at 12 this weekend, but I like Josh Thunder back at 10. He should be the general for Western Province. He's had a very good Currie Cup so far this year. So I think Western Province, they should beat to -6. So I don't give the Sharks a chance of winning the game. I think Western Province should beat the handicap here.
Right, the handicap of 6.5 points. And if you're looking at the total points market, I'm going to make a prediction, Henrik, and say I'll price up total points at about 55.5 points for the final.
That's a difficult one. Jaco Piper is the ref. He's normally an overs ref. And the game is, I think, kickoff should be at 4 because they should allow for extra time. So it should still be like an afternoon game, and it's been very hot in Cape Town. Yeah, tentatively, you should probably go overs. It's tough to go unders on the Western Province game the way they play at the moment. And but the Sharks' defense hasn't been bad. I'd go overs, but not very confident.
Not very confidently at 55.5. Gavin, I know you're not a big points player, but at those sort of lines, would you be thinking we're heading for a high-scoring game, or is this going to revert to what I would call proper finals rugby now, where we get two teams virtually cancelling each other out?
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think, Brent, the days of finals being sort of 18, 15, I think they're long gone. I think a low points quote for this particular game would be, 30, 20 or 25, 22, something in the 40s. Your quote of 55 is probably a little bit under, a little bit low. I'd expect points lines to be around about the 60 level here. Maybe a low quote would be 56, 57, and a high quote would be about 67, maybe in that 10-point range. I'm not a big points punter, so I probably could get this wrong, but I'm thinking it's around about there. Yeah, I think it'll be a bit tighter, but last week as well, I noticed guys were looking at Lions at 15 points saying it was too low, and they wanted to go low at a higher quote. I don't know what the Bulls quote was, but obviously they got 30 points last week. Yeah, with a nice sunshine, Henrik says the weather's going to be quite good. Sunshine, it's very difficult for both teams not to get 30. I think this game will be closer. So, yeah, I'd probably go overs here if it was under 65. I'd go unders if it was lower than sort of 57 or 58. That's sort of where I'm thinking.
Right. Well, I must say, yeah, I'll probably get involved in the points markets. I'm also thinking Western Province for the handicap, but I have lost a bit of confidence. One of the markets I'll have a look at here, we have discussed it on the show quite often, perhaps for a bit of an interest, is the Western Province by 1 to 12 points inclusive, and that's generally trading around the 16 to 10 mark. Of course, there will be plenty of other markets on the day, such as first try scorer, what time the first try is going to be scored in. And then just to bring Henrik back in on the GG Gaming Gone Mad show there, Gary Lenton saying they prepare to offer the good for the game punters even money on the handicap, either side of the 6.5. And well, that's a good offer.
That's a very good offer, Brent, especially for the final. Lots of guys, they're not even normal punters, normal punt on every weekend. They like to get involved with the big games. And yeah, I'd advise anyone to go to GG Gaming, because if you can even money, it's on either side. That's great. There's no margin for the bookmakers, so yeah, it's a great offer.
Excellent. Well, if you want to see how to do that, you'll just have to watch the GG Gaming show. You can also have a look tomorrow morning on Good for the Game on the GG Gaming page. We'll have all the details of just how you can claim your even money on that handicap, and it closes 15 minutes before the game kicks off. So then it looks, I mean, if I'm reading this correctly, it really does seem to be a well-set handicap here. We haven't had a lot of movement. The handicaps came out straight after the semi-finals. I didn't get a chance to make my handicap prediction like I normally like to ahead of the time. But, yeah, bookmakers look like they're spot on here. There's a bit of movement from 6.5 to 5.5, back to 6.5. But I think the bookmakers are going to get interest both sides of the line. Any closing comments from you there, Gavin, before we move on to the Bledisloe Cup?
No, Brent. Look, I'm pretty confident on the Sharks here. Most of it's price-based, but also I think, as Henrik mentioned, the Lions weren't great. It was a decent team. They just didn't play great. And for me, I think the Sharks have left that game feeling better than Province have left their game. For lack of a better English sentence or English language, that's probably really where I'm trying to go here. I just think the Sharks are going into this game with a little bit more confidence in Western Province. Yeah, but not a lot more, but just a little bit more. And I think the plus 6.5, it's within a try. And honestly, there's little to separate these. Yeah, the game they played together, Sharks obviously started off well. They scored the first try. Halftime, they were within 3 points. I still punted Sharks plus. I can't remember what it was. I think it was about 10 or 9 at halftime, that particular game. Obviously, it went against me, and Province ran away with it in the second half. I just don't see it happening this particular game. Like Western Province, if they get the opportunities, they'll take their kicks like they did against the Bulls rather than go for the tries. I just think it'll be a bit closer. For me, I'm definitely going to take the plus 6.5. I'm going to take up Gary's offer of the even money. It's the best you can get around. Why not? GG Gaming, they've come out for us. They've been on your show. They've given us everything we want. lots of prizes, nothing wrong with it. Support the company, give them a go. And I'm going to come for the +6.5 at evens with them.
Yeah, and just to mention that Gary also saying that he would match any new customer that comes on with a good for the game and mentions good for the game. He'll match their 2,000 Rand first deposit up to 150%. So that's 3,000 he'll put in your account there. So anything up to 2,000. So worth mentioning on that one. But Henrik, let's go now to the Bledisloe Cup. And we've got New Zealand up against Australia. This game, of course, taking place on neutral territory, Yokohama in Japan. And New Zealand priced here 16.5-point favorites. Well, they were when I looked earlier in the day. And also looks a fairly well set. Have you got any interest in this one, or are you waiting for the points lines?
I haven't placed a bet on the game yet, Brent, but I'm going to have a go at the New Zealand second half handicap again, -8.5. I saw at Sunbet -8.5 second half handicap at 0.87 to 1. New Zealand, they've got a pretty strong bench with Tadek and Aaron Smith on the bench, and Tadek makes a big difference to New Zealand. Yeah, it's just difficult to take on New Zealand, and it's tough to go on Australia. I'm sure Oracle's going to tell us again how bad Australia are, and you can't understand how Michael Ticker still has a job. But yeah, I just can't back the Aussies at the moment. So going for New Zealand on the second half handicap, and then I'm going to look at points as well. 3 o'clock game in Yokohama. Romain Poit is the ref. He's all right ref. I know he's not everybody's favorite, but his games, they normally have points. And New Zealand, they've done well under him. So I'll be looking at New Zealand points in that one.
New Zealand points overs in that one. And just to bring Gavin in there, Gavin, they really have named a very strong side, New Zealand. Hard to find any fault there. I haven't watched your video yet. I have watched your Currie Cup video, but not your Bledisloe Cup. As Henrik smiling there suggests, are you all over the All Blacks here?
I don't know about all over, Brent. I've just gone a unit, but I've gone minus. I'm with Henrik there, and he's 100% right. I can't believe Czech is still employed. And quite frankly, I did point out in my written preview as well as my video, I won't touch Australia until they get rid of that. I don't care. You know, if it's a fantastic price on Australia, I'd either not have a bet or I'd go against them. So that's where I stand at the moment until he goes. You know, the interesting stat here is that they've played, Australia and New Zealand played 5 times outside of home ground. So either New Zealand at home or Australia at home. They played 5 times. Australia have won 2 and New Zealand have won 3. The last couple of games were Twickenham, New Zealand won by 17, I think, or 15. It was
at the World Cup final?
Yes, that's right. Sorry, correct, 100%. And then in 2010, they played in, I think it was Hong Kong, and Australia won by 2. So it's you know, you can't go back to that. I don't think there's a single Australian or New Zealand that were on the field that day. They're probably still playing today. There might be, but I don't think so. But more importantly, you know, New Zealand have strategically, I'm guessing they're in control of where they play, because it's a home game. When you see who's listed as home, New Zealand is listed as the home team in this game. They've strategically taken Yokohama as the venue, because that's the venue that they play South Africa in the opening game on the 21st of September next year. The reason why I remember the date is my kid's birthday, but also it's the final of the Rugby World Cup. So the Rugby World Cup final will be at the same venue, and it also hosted the Soccer World Cup final in 2002. So it's a big stadium. I think it takes 73 or something thousand people. And New Zealand are getting a good look at that stadium and the conditions at this time of the year, whereas South Africa haven't bothered. If I was South Africa or Rassie Erasmus, I would have definitely made sure I got a game in Yokohama either now or certainly early next year, because this is very clever of New Zealand to get a good look in at the stadium and the conditions. I can't see Australia coming close here, but I haven't gone big.
Okay, so you reckon New Zealand on the handicap. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on your conditions comment and ask Hendrik's opinion on that as well. But just to mention, thanks to the guys in the live chat, I've been running around a bit from a technical point of view. I haven't been able to pay as much attention to the live chat as I do. But good to have Jaco Okom following the show. And Seen Bo, he's back again. And he uses beautiful language when he says to Jaco Okom, we appear going to move the Sharks this weekend. He's all over the -7.5. And I certainly, in a way, I wish this game was in PE so we could get one of his brilliant weather forecasts as well. And, of course, we got Ruan Faris saying that he can't believe that allows at 13. But Henrik, let me bring you in there with what Gavin said about New Zealand going to look at conditions. You know what I say? Let New Zealand look at conditions, but I'm going to be watching as a punter because I want to know, and we're talking a similar time of year, I want to know how things like humidity levels and that are at this time of year. So I'm also welcoming this opportunity to look at conditions.
Yes, Brent, I can't wait for the World Cup. The World Cup has always been good to me. And yeah, like you said, it's nice to get an early look in and see what we're going to have, what we have to do on the points lines, because that's where we make a lot of our money on the overs and unders. So yeah, it would be nice to have a look. And yeah, I can't wait for the World Cup. It's so many games. Just so much opportunities, and the bookmakers, sometimes you get nice slip-ups, like I'm sure we're going to talk about another game where they slipped up today as well.
Yeah, I certainly want to get straight into that game. And just to mention to punters, the World Cup next year is going to be absolutely massive. I mean, I'm thinking probably we'll have a handicap show every day during the World Cup, because I don't think we're ever going to get tired of it. And, you know, I don't know. I'm going to have to look and see if I must take a whole month's leave or what. But it's going to be absolutely brilliant, the World Cup, and it's all going to start building from next year. So really, really looking forward to that. But Henrik, let's stay on the topic, which I know you want to discuss. And that's a big betting move that came, and I'd like to think a lot of the guys on the Good for the Game forum actually triggered it this week. And that's a match taking place between Japan and a World 15. And it seems like some bookmakers saw World 15 and assumed that they were going to hammer the Japanese. And there was a handicap of plus 24.5. Very few local bookmakers did price up on it. And I managed to get some of it at World Sports Betting. I didn't climb in because at that stage, to be honest, I wasn't that confident. I just thought, you know, a couple of shooties on the forum have picked it. But what we've seen there, Henrik, is a handicap that opened at 24.5. Overseas, I must say, it opened at the likes of Paddy Power. And it's now ranging, I think I saw on the forum, between 6.5 and 12.5. So massive money for the Japanese. And in the words of Shaw Nicholas, he's big on Japan this weekend.
Yeah, the WSB, well, the European bookmakers and WSB probably followed them. They got it horribly wrong. That handicap is way off. This game should actually be closer to a choice game for me. I still back Japan on the current plus, and I've taken some plus 11.5. Japan at Sunbet, I've taken just under 3-1 for them to win the game. I think they should win the game. I like Jamie Joseph. He's a very good coach, and they're gonna want to build for the World Cup. So yeah, WSB got that horribly wrong, and you've got a great bet there. I know I was in the same position with the Sharks against the Free State, so I hope it doesn't end up that way for you. But I think all the guys that got under plus more than 14.5, you should really be safe. I'm expecting a very good game from Japan. The World 15, they look all right on paper, but they wouldn't have many training sessions together, and so just a few guys thrown together. I'm not a big fan of Ma'ananu. She's at 12. So, yeah, I just think the Japanese, they should be up for this game.
Right, yeah. I'm certainly happy with the bets I've taken. As I say, I didn't get very heavily involved because at the time I was basing it purely on other people's opinions. But in retrospect, I probably should have gone a little bit bigger. And Gavin, let me ask you, have you had a look at this game? Are you going to be previewing this game? And like Sean, are you big in Japan?
Can you hear that?
You big on Japan, Gav?
Yeah, I'm playing the song. Yeah, I found the song on my
computer.
If you can't hear it, you can't hear it. But I was trying to play it anyway. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm with Henrik there. I didn't see the 24. Sorry, I wasn't even looking for it today. I see they sort of 11 to 14 overseas, so probably going to be around about 10 or 9 or whatever it is when they wake up tomorrow morning. Look, it's a World 15 game, so I've got a rule against that. It's almost like a dead rubber rule. I don't go big on games that don't really mean anything. So, yeah, for me, probably a unit and a half. I'll go with the Japanese. I remember, Henrik might remember, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was about 2-3 years ago, Japan played Wales, and I think they were plus 16 or plus 20. I took the Wales to win the game on the board. They were like 4 or 5 to 1, and they won the game by 4 or 5 points. It was crazy. Like, everybody laughed at me that week, I remember. And the reality is, Japan at home, sure, if they play in a weaker team, absolutely, they've got a chance. A World 15 is definitely not a solid team. They haven't been training together for a long time. You know, if you go against a World 15, you're almost always in the money. Obviously, you can lose, but most of it's going for you. But because it's a dead rubber, I would never get massively involved in a game like this. It's a small play for me, but I'm definitely on the Japanese. I haven't done a preview on that, but I'll probably do a written one later tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm hoping the game's on TV in South Africa, but I will go for Japan at any plus, anything plus.
Right, going for Japan there, Gavin. Let's wrap up the international rugby there for now and move on to a tournament that you've done very well in, Hendrik, and that's the Meet 10 Cup in New Zealand. We've got the two finals taking place this weekend, starting off tomorrow morning where we've got Waikato up against Otago and then Auckland against Canterbury on Saturday.
Yeah, Brent, the Waikato game, I like Waikato under -2 tomorrow. 2 weeks ago, the handicap was basically the same as, I think it was 7.5. It's now 6.5 in most places. And I was on Waikato. That was the Ranfurly Shield game, and they lost the game against Otago. I think there should be a bit of revenge for Waikato. Especially because they lost the Shield 2 weeks ago, and Otago, they were a bit lucky for me to win against Hawke's Bay. They didn't impress me. I didn't watch the Waikato game against they played last week. I can't remember, but I was not impressed with Otago. They scraped through against Hawke's Bay, so I think Waikato should win by double figures here. So this is one of the better bets for me. Waikato -6.5. Auckland and Canterbury. Auckland, they've been the form team in the tournament. And they beat Canterbury in Christchurch. Canterbury, they know how to play finals rugby, but I still think Auckland is the correct bet here. So I've taken Auckland -1.5. Yeah, but I'm much more confident on Waikato -6.5.
Right, I also see Auckland -2.5 now at Sunday, but it's close to even money there. And Hendrik, often finding these tournaments, the team that has performed consistently throughout the tournament often wins, if I can put it that way. So, in other words, Auckland have been the team of this tournament. And I think they got even though that we know that historically the Crusaders can play finals, but quite often you find that teams, they play the form book actually holds up quite well. So on that basis, then we can say that Western Province and Auckland should win those two finals. So let's hope so. Gavin, before we get on to a bit of European rugby, anything from you on the Meter 10?
Yeah, look, I watched a little bit. I haven't had many punts as much as Hendrik. I mean, Hendrik's probably have 10 to 12 times more than I've had in this tournament. But I got to say, I watched some of these breakdown shows on the New Zealand TV that comes out on SuperSport here. That there was a show where they had the coach on, the Auckland coach. I think he's a Samoan guy or a Fijian. I don't know where he's from, but he's... Yeah, so I was impressed with him. He spoke very well. He seemed to know what he was talking about. His tactics were good. He didn't seem to hum or ha, and he knew what he was doing. And the show I'm talking about was actually before they went down to Canterbury, as Hendrik mentioned. They went down there and won. I got to tell you, I'm very surprised this is at -2. So that tells me they're probably 7 or 10 to win the game. I got to say they're definitely going to win that game. But I'm going to go one step further than Hendrik here and tell you, you want a nice multiple on the Australasian here. Take Waikato to win the game. Take Auckland to win the game, and chuck in the Fijian Drua. And you got yourself a nice multiple. So all three of these, I can't see all three of these teams losing their match. Probably, if anything, would be Auckland, but I can't see Auckland losing. Sorry, I'm going to be a nice multiple, and I'm going to take it myself.
Right, Gavin. Well, let's stay with you as we move on to the Pro 14. Going to run through the games quickly, and I know Hendrik fancies a few of these games as well. But one where there's also been some quite big betting moves. I'm not sure that it was really local betting moves, but the Kings against the Scarlets. I know overseas there was some, I think, plus 19.5 that guys on the Good for the Game forum from Europe said. It was plus 19.5 Kings, and that's coming to plus 9.5. So a massive move there. And that's on the back of the fact that the Scarlets are not fielding the international players. And let's face it, the Kings have shown a bit this season, haven't they?
Yes, Brent. I didn't see 19. Sorry, I'm not as active on looking for prices, especially early in the week. I'm looking at plus 9.5, and for me, that's already 9 points too much. I think the Kings will win this game on the board. I think they'll beat the Scarlets. Never mind whether they bring in half a team or not. The big factor for me here is the fact that they're playing in a small stadium. They're playing at the university, Nelson Mandela Bay University, the Madiba's ground that the Varsity Cup team plays in. And that's good enough for me. That's worth 10 points on its own. I think a team like a Scarlets will battle to play in a stadium like that. We saw Ulster last year battle in in the small stadium. In fact, we saw all the teams battled in these small stadiums. Definitely Kings for me. Plus, if you're worried, board if you're not, I'm going on the board here. I'm not even going to bother with a plus.
He's not fooling around there at all. And Henrik, just to bring you in, I know this is one of the games you do have a fancy on.
Yeah, I'm with Gavin on this one. I've also taken the Kings plus 9.5, and I agree that they have a chance to win the game. And he picked up on the smaller stadiums a while ago, and I've been looking out for that since Gavin has mentioned it. And it's correct that the Kings, they're just better when they're not playing at the big stadium, Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. So looking at Scarlets, they lost to Leicester last week, and I was on Scarlets, so I lost money there. And Leicester, they've not been that good, and now Scarlets, they've lost a few players as well. So I think this is a good week for the two South African teams. They're playing against a bit of weakened Pro 14 teams. So I think the Kings Plus is a very good bet. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go on to the next game that you fancy, Henrik, and that's the Ospreys against Connacht, and that's Friday night, kicking off at 9:05. Very even game, according to the bookmakers, with the visitors actually very slight favourites. What are you looking at? You're the home team, the visitors?
Strasher 06, I think is his name, on Good for Good Forum. He posted about this game earlier this afternoon. He's one of the overseas-based punters that post on Good for the Game. And he mentioned that this game, the plus was actually, of the handicap was at 7.5, and Connacht were 2-1 to win the game, and it was big movement overseas. And then when I saw his post, I went and I checked the teams, and I see Connacht, they've named a pretty strong side. They had a few players who was rested, and they're now back. And Ospreys, they've got quite a few players out on international duty and injuries as well. So I've taken Connacht to win the game at 12-10. Also taken them half-time, full-time at 2-1. So I think the away team can win, yeah.
I'm going to stay with you, Henrik. We'll give Oracle his chance to get on now. But another game you said you had a bit of a fancy was Munster against the Glasgow Warriors. Munster minus 9.5 points at Sunbet.
Yeah, I saw just before we started the show, I saw Southpaw posting that Glasgow, they might be without a few international players. But Glasgow, they've been good so far to me, well, the past few seasons. I got them wrong against Saracens, but they impressed me. And last week I was on them against the Cardiff Blues, and they were the underdogs there. They played at Cardiff. I think you were on Glasgow points there, and they were very impressive. And I like Dave Rennie. I like to follow good coaches, so I'm going for Glasgow plus 8.5 here, and I think they will run Munster really close here.
As a matter of interest, did you watch that Champions Cup game on the weekend? I think it was the Cardiff Blues against the Glasgow Warriors, where they both virtually played an identical kit. Wasn't that ridiculous? Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I can't believe it still happens. It's happened at other games as well, previous years. And I just can't believe that the organizers get stuff like that wrong. It's like the same team with 30 players. You couldn't differentiate between the players.
No, I actually thought it was a bit like the Sharks-Lions game where Skasan was standing in the Sharks' backline. I mean, he may as well have been wearing the same jersey. Henrik, let's finish off then with your Pro 14, and then we'll sort of run it back in reverse for Gavin if he fancies anything. We got the Cheetahs at home to the Cardiff Blues, and you got the Cheetahs favourites here at sort of 2.5 points. And I heard you say up front in the show that the local teams could be worth following against European opposition that is probably a bit weaker than normal, and also probably exhausted after a couple of weeks of heavy action in the European Champions Cup.
Yeah, I like the Cheetahs as well, on the minus 2.5. And the Cardiff Blues, they went up that good against Glasgow, and they are also probably without a few players. The thing I'm a bit wary of here is that the Cheetahs, or the Free State, they're playing a promotion relegation game on Tuesday against SWD Eagles for the Currie Cup. And I read that Franco Smith, he said that the Currie Cup and the Pro 14 won't overlap in future. So they really want to stay up in the Currie Cup. So they're going to take the promotion relegation game really, what's the word?
They're going to, I mean,
seriously. So they're going to take it seriously. So I'm just scared that the Cheetahs won't play the best team on Saturday. and keep a few guys for Tuesday. But I'm sure they have to target this Cardiff Blues game as well. So I'm going to wait for team news. The Cheetahs game for Saturday, the team should be announced tomorrow. So I haven't placed my bet yet. But if I see the Cheetahs at full strength, I'm going to all over the Cheetahs -2.5.
Right, Gavin, I'm bringing you in now. We've had a long chat to Henrik there about Pro 14. I mean, I must say, I'd assessed this. I'd actually made the Cheetahs. I saw some 7 to 10 available. I made them my best bet of the weekend. I thought the Cheetahs are going to beat the Cardiff Blues, and they're going to beat them comfortably. But what Henrik said there is exactly what I'm worried about. This game on Tuesday, quite frankly, I think they should be able to beat South West Districts with one hand tied behind each of the players' backs. You know, they shouldn't have a problem. But the worry is just on the focus, and that has me reluctant to steam into the 7 to 10 on the Cheetahs. What do you make of it?
Brent, the first thing is, are they allowed to do that? I mean, that concerns me more than anything else. I can't believe they can pull a whole lot of Pro 14, predominantly Pro 14 regulars and chuck them into a Southwest Districts game. I mean, I mentioned on my my weekly rugby show last night that I'm going to back the Southwest Districts. Look, I'm not sure what sort of plus I'm going to get. I think they might even win the game. I think that Cheetah's B team was rubbish. But anyway, look, if Henrik's right, then yeah, I'll also slow down on my wallet. But if he's not, and it's the normal rubbish B team, then I will back the Southwest Districts because you know, winning is a habit. And that team, I think, if anything, they've lost a game. I can't remember exactly. I think it's 1 or 2 games they've lost. But otherwise, you know, they probably more motivated than anything else. And I think you're right. They're going to target the Cardiff game. What worries me, though, well, not worries me, is makes me a bit more excited, is that the likes of Cardiff and Scarlets for the Kings game, for that matter, are probably sending, you know, B teams or half teams or whatever you want to call them, because they've just had a couple of serious weeks in the Champions Cup. So, yeah, for that matter, I think 7 to 10 or even 6 to 10. Cheetahs -2 or -3. I think the Cheetahs will win this game. I wouldn't say comfortably, but certainly around about the 10 line, 8, 9, 10, something like that. Maybe trying a bit. So yeah, I am interested in Cheetahs. I'm going to go against them on the Munster game. I think the Munster price will probably be a little bit. Well, I was expecting the handicap to be certainly higher, but I think they've built into the fact that Glasgow won that Kit Clash game you were talking about. I watched it. For the first 5 minutes, I couldn't tell who was who. I had to rely on the commentators who also clearly didn't know who was who. Yeah, that was bad. It was almost as bad as that Blues Stormers game, which I remember you were involved in earlier last year, where they played with a very, very similar kit. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going Munster minus. I don't like to take big minuses. This is a 9, 10 minus. It might not sound big for me in Pro 14. It's a little bit big, but I do think the value lies with Munster. The other games I'm definitely interested in Pro 14. Benetton at home with a decent plus, a try and some change. +7.5, +8.5 Benetton to beat Leinster. I'm interested in that. The other games I'm interested in Zebre as well. I'm going with the Italians again. Zebre have got also, well, just under a try, +5.5, +6.5 against Edinburgh. I'm interested in that. The Ospreys Connacht game, I hear what Henrik said. I don't know too much about that. I was going to leave that particular game off. I'm not going to have a go there. Ulster Dragons, jeez, I don't know. That Dragons team is just also not playing very well at the moment. Probably a little bit of value going in the -18.5, but it is quite high. Yeah, other than that, those are the only games. So Kings on the board, Zebre plus, Munster minus, Cheetahs minus, and Benetton plus for me. That's all.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you've bought yourself a villa somewhere in Benetton, Treviso there, because you certainly do enjoy following them. I must ask you, Gavin, I know you fancied them last week, but they arrived on the handicap and not on the board. Did you back them straight on the board last week, or were you on the +3.5?
Yes, no, I went for them to win, so I lost on that, yeah. Okay,
that was unfortunate because
they were leading most of the game, if you remember, and it wasn't on. Well, I don't know if it was on TV. I was out that night. I had a company function, then I had to pick my kid up. By the time, in fact, I was asking him on the way home, "What's the score? What's the score?" He said, "Dad, you can't watch it. What's the problem? I'll tell you in 5 minutes." And eventually, it was 21-20 or 2019, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I missed it by a point.
Just looking at the live comments, good to have Brad Breath, one of our offshore punters, very active on the Good for the Game forum. He says he fancies the Cheetahs, but he's waiting for the teams. Cautious, as the Blues have also performed really well this year when underdogs, and that's also something to look out for. Some teams tend to rise to the occasion when they're not fancied to do that well. But let's wrap things up, guys. It's been a good show, plenty of rugby chat. I'm going to bring Henrik in now. And Henrik, let's wrap up with your best bet for the weekend.
Brent, just before I get to the best bet, I just want to touch on the promotion relegation game again. We'll probably only get betting on Monday for the Cheetahs and the SWD game.
Henrik, I think you're looking at it probably about 4 o'clock on Tuesday.
Yeah,
2 hours before the game. You know what these guys are like.
And I think the game will be played in Bloemfontein.
Yeah.
Oracle, I'm going against you. I think the Cheetahs will hammer the Southwestern District. I watched the first division final. They were good in the second half, but yeah, it was the quality of rugby. I know I hear what you're saying about the Cheetahs B team as well, but the quality of rugby wasn't very good. But from what I read about Frank Smith, they're going to take the game very seriously. So I think the Cheetahs, they're going to hammer the SWD. And then getting to my best bet, I'm going for Waikato -6.5. I think they should win by more than 10.
Well, I can tell you the fact that you made Waikato your best bet. There's plenty of guys getting on that. Henrik, I'm very much with you there. I think the Cheetahs, if they do name a strong team, will hammer SWD. Of course, that doesn't mean we're going to win on the handicap because we wait and see where the bookies are going to put that cap. I'm also in agreement with Gavin. I don't think we must start looking on Sunday for that handicap. Yeah, probably a couple hours before. And we might be lucky to get one bookmaker or maybe two that prices up on total points, because I can tell you those third and fourth place playoffs have often been high scoring. They usually also played over 2 legs, but this is only one. And just, Gavin, another interesting one on this one is that Southwest Districts had to play the game because their players aren't contracted from the end of October, which, I mean, that's also not a lack of mindset to go into a game with. I guess you could argue it both ways. You could, on the one hand, they're playing for potentially, you know, a more lucrative contract next year, but on the other hand, they know that, you know, when they wake up the next morning and they've got a sore knee, they've paid for it themselves.
That's right. They're playing for their medical aid because after the 31st, they ain't got no medical aid. Yeah, look, Henrik, I have to agree with you. When I said I'd go for them, I'm really thinking like +12 or +15. And for me, it's like a unit maximum, yeah. So there's no borrowing money or there's none of that cuck. Don't worry. Yeah, this will be a small bet for me. Tuesday game. We don't often get to see Tuesday rugby on TV. Yeah, I'll probably have a small go at the plus. But I suppose if it's 5 or 6, I probably won't. Maybe I'll go for the minus. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. But I'd like to, in a game like that, I like to go for the underdog. Especially, I've also got to believe that those players are probably a little bit more motivated than the Cheetahs players will be, because they know they've got a future in Pro 14. And if there's no Currie Cup for them next year, you know what? If they played first division rugby next year, I don't think it would be such a bad thing.
Yeah, that's Gavin's view for you. Gav, your best bet then for the weekend?
I'm going to say that my best bet here is Sharks to win the game on the board.
Oh, okay. Well, as you can see from our shirt, I'm certainly hoping that doesn't happen. But guys, thanks very much. Good to have you both on the show. Plenty of rugby to look forward to this weekend. My best bet, I guess I better say a best bet. I'm still leaning towards the Cheetahs. I don't often take 7 to 10 shots, but if I can get 7 to 10, perhaps even squeeze a bit more out of a bookmaker, I'm all over the Cheetahs against the Cardiff Blues. And I do fancy you guys on the Kings there as well, +9.5. I like that as well. Thanks a lot, guys. Look forward to a bit of banter on the weekend, and perhaps, if the betting is out early enough, maybe we'll do a preview on Monday night or something for the Southwest District's Cheetahs game if we've got some team news on that. But let's not hold our breath for that one. Thanks, Gavin, and thanks, Henrik.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Yes, you too.
And to all the guys watching on the live chat and making comments, thanks very much, guys. Ruan Farid closing us off by saying his bet, Western Province, -2.5 handicap at halftime. I know a lot of people will be joining you on that one. Western Province have started very quickly in most games this season, although, of course, the Bulls game was an exception. Thanks very much for watching the handicap. We're going to be back with English Premier League preview at 10 o'clock. I'll be joined by Chris Sturdy, who went solo today for the big Soweto derby, Pirates against Chiefs. Let's see what he says about the EPL. Good punting this weekend.